In this segment, Stephanie Miller is joined by Harry Litman. Harry is a former federal prosecutor and he is now an MSNBC contributor. Together, the two discuss the recent Supreme Court rulings concerning Trump's immunity.
And here's what practically this means. A president, like Donald Trump next year, or whoever the president is, can take a blatantly illegal act, slap the label, hey, this is an official act, and write that in the preface to whatever the heck he's doing. And now we're going to have hearings and so on before district judges and then appeals to determine whether it's truly an official act or not. And it'll all take place against the backdrop of this Supreme Court decision, which says when you pressure, if you're the president and you pressure the Justice Department to throw out or to impugn an election results where you obviously have the greatest of personal motives, that's not a personal act, that's an official act. So if that's your standard for what is an official act, much else is going to be official. And what does this mean practically? I think it means if you're Joe Biden, if you're a Democrat who's running for the president, your path right now is clear. You have to run against the Supreme Court. You have to run against this decision. This is not America. If you want to make America great again, you got to return to the rule of law. This decision today, unfortunately, is a blueprint on how to end the rule of law.
Harry, you know better than us. Break down what's happening.
Okay, what we were mostly anticipating and fearing, Steph, has happened. The court, and there are 5 to 6 votes depending on their multiple opinions, but they say there is immunity for things within his indispensable executive power that could include even the stuff in the ellipse. But basically, if it's at the core, let me tell you the exact language. In his conclusive and preclusive constitutional authority, he is immune from criminal prosecution. Moreover, there's a presumption that he has acted regularly and in a way that does justify immunity. The dissent says this is completely unprecedented, puts him above the law. What happens next is it goes back to Judge Chutkan, and by the way, your listeners are hearing this in real time. It's been about a minute to say, you decide in the first instance, Judge, was this really at the very core of his executive power? And it seems to me, Steph, that whatever she decides, there is the likelihood that Trump could then appeal it, and that would occasion another delay. And basically, it is good news for Trump, especially on the delay front. And even substantively, it's pretty strong. It doesn't give him a free pass, but it seems to suggest that a lot of his activity, even the stuff on the ellipse, might be immune.
Sorry, let me absorb that body blow.
So they're sending it back down to Chutkan, correct?
That's right. They're sending it back down to Chutkan to decide in the first instance, but not based on evidence, but whether as a legal matter it's within the core indispensable authority and not, again, we might have thought that the stuff with the Department of Justice qualified there because at least he's monkeying around with the Department of Justice. But when he's speaking on the ellipse, that seems to be him as a candidate, not him as a president. And yet they open the door for that possibility. So this is an even stronger, again, no free pass for Trump. There's a remand. It will play out. But a lot of the case will be trimmed, and the delay will happen based on another round of remands that basically tubes any possibility of a trial this year.
Harry, it's just,
my quick take for first and only exclusive for the Steph Miller liberal faithful.
Exciting. Death of democracy.
Now I got to go read the whole thing.
right.
Just to give it to you.
Yeah. Harry, so, this gives Trump again, basically gives him immunity by delay. Here we go again.
That's for sure. Immunity by delay and even fairly broad immunity by law. So that's going to have to play out. How broad is that, including even the activity on the ellipse?
I don't. It's just like Nixon's echoing in my head. If the president does it, it means it's legal.
Except Nixon lost, of course, by unanimous court saying you've got to comply with the criminal law. Here, Trump is, again, you could call it luck, but his series of good fortunes in different cases are staggering. And let me put it this way. We are on our own as voters.
God. So let's talk about it. So this is
No. I got yeah.
Oh, you got to go?
Yeah.
Oh, you have to go right now?
Give me one more question.
Okay. So the court will instruct Chutkan to define which acts Trump committed fall under presidential powers, which ones are outside the scope of protection. So
in the first instance,
Chutkan can jump into the case with both feet immediately. Some are saying that and hold basically a mini trial. What can you tell us what that means?
I don't
quickly?
see they're calling for a mini trial. That's a question that some people were hoping for. Maybe she puts some evidence together to decide, hold a mini trial. To me, they've articulated a legal standard, and it will fall to her to apply that legal standard. And that doesn't mean, as I think some of my colleagues have been hoping, this will be the big discussion in the next few hours.
Yeah.
Is there some hope for some kind of evidentiary hearing that, of course, people wouldn't follow so much, but would give some conclusions. It doesn't seem to me that there's room for that, but I think it's important to read the whole opinion first.
Okay. All right. We release you back into the wild of television.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Harry. Thank you.
Harry.
I know. I was shocked. I was like, we got Harry during immunity ruling? Really? They're like, cable news firemen. They're just like, it's all sliding down the pole. Yeah, I think that was Katie Fang that had said, I'm a believer. I've been pushing the idea. You'll see an evidentiary hearing that Judge Chutkan will do, I think, very quickly. She's going to put the pedal to the metal on this. The evidence you'll be hearing will be the opportunity for Jack Smith to present the entirety of the indictment, because I believe the indictment against Trump is all unofficial acts. None of that was kosher. None of it was supposed to happen. It was all illegal. You'll see Special Counsel Jack Smith put on what I'm going to call a mini trial through the course of the evidentiary hearing so Americans can hear what Donald Trump did. The American people are owed. Right? Are owed this, I think. And, it is obviously depressing, as we thought. Yeah. I still, it's still, like for us non-lawyers, when stuff comes out, like you were saying, there's so much legalese, and we're trying to even, punt illegal guys like, and lads and ladies like Harry, have different ways of interpreting and what's it going to mean. And, I mean, because I was feeling the Fisher ruling about the insurrectionist, he actually had kind of a happy clappy take on that. This is the guy who barged into the Capitol. Right. He assaulted a federal officer. So the court held he could not be charged under a federal law against obstructing an official proceeding for joining the melee that's delayed the certification, a ruling that the law is limited to conduct affecting the integrity or availability of records that could be in evidence in an official proceeding. In this one, Harry writes, the decision isn't likely to favor the majority of the rioters, and it's even less likely to help Trump.
Yeah, they're figuring about 52 people are affected by this ruling out of the more than 1,000.
Right.